All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining our team call tonight. It is February 7th, beginning of the month of Team Cup Month. Hopefully everyone is kind of rocking and rolling with their team cups. You're participating. You're running challenge groups together. You're coming up with free groups. You're sharing ideas and sharing, conversations and what you guys should be doing. So I know my group is doing really, really awesome, and I know that you guys are too. So welcome all new coaches. I know we have a lot of new coaches on the team. Usually I haven't made PowerPoints in a while, but I used to make PowerPoints that welcomed each team. I'm sorry, that just takes up too much of my time. And we have a lot of new coaches, so that'd be a lot of slides. But welcome to the new coaches. Congratulations to everyone who has really just picked up their business in January and February. It's been really awesome kind of seeing everyone just come back and step back into it and really help as many people as they possibly can. So tonight we have an awesome guest, which I'm really excited for, Pablo Diaz. I've actually known Pablo probably since year one since I've been coaching. And me and Jessica Bryson did a Super Saturday almost 3.5 years ago. And at the time, Philly wasn't running something, and I don't think Jersey was really on the map back then. So me and Jess were like, you know what, why don't we just have our own Super Saturday? And we were clueless. We had no idea what we were doing. I think we had 15 people show up, but Pablo was there. And when we were recognizing transformation stories, I didn't know Pablo. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll talk. I was like, oh, thank God, because I was sweating. I was a nervous wreck. And he had the best freaking story ever. And since then, in the Beachbody world, you kind of have friends that you see at events and see at Whole Foods all the time. And Pablo has just been one of those people that, my mom loves Pablo. My mom's always like, I love Pablo. I'm like, I know you do. You like all his stuff, Mom. My husband knows Pablo. We all know Pablo. So Pablo is a husband and father to a 3-year-old. He's a lifetime 2-star diamond coach, Success Club All-Star legend for 39 months, meaning he's hit Success Club 39 months in a row. So that means what? 6 people each, 3 people minimum that he's helped. So 3 times 39, you do the math. I'm not good at that. That's a lot of people that he's, helped with their transformation. He's a size cast member, so this guy can dance. He was a Beachbody challenge winner, so he won $500 for sending his before and after pictures in. So guys, make sure you send your pictures in. And then he's a team leader on the leadership ladder, meaning he has a pretty legit team underneath of him, and he knows what he's doing. So without further ado, and Pablo's going to talk about sharing your story. And I think that's a great topic for him because I was saying with the Super Saturday, he just kind of stood up without even knowing he was going to talk and shared his story with all of us. So Pablo, I'm going to let you take it over, and thank you so much.
You got it. Before I get into my story and then sharing with you guys some things that I do to effectively connect with people by sharing my story on social media, I just want to, thank Rose again for she did a team call for my team and rocked it. So as you guys know, you are part of an amazing team. And I love when she recognizes you guys and is so proud of I feel like I'm proud of the team that she's built too, because I'm just like, wow, look at all those coaches, all those rock stars, all these great stories of financial freedom and just transformations. And you guys are just so blessed to have Rose as your coach. I met, that was the first Super Saturday that I attended in September of 2013. And she led it, and she was like an emerald, maybe almost diamond, or just a new diamond coach. I was just like, wow, look at this woman who, you could tell that she was just a little bit scared, but she was going for it, and I really admired that because I was like, I couldn't do what she's doing right now. But it was then that I started forming relationships with coaches in our area. And ever since then, I've just been like, well, if Rose can do it, so can I. So just know, no matter where you are, new coach or been a coach for a couple years, you're under amazing leadership, and you guys can really rock this business. So I'll start with a little bit of my story, and it's probably going to sound very much like a lot of stories that you've heard from some of the top coaches in this company. So my story, you know, I've struggled with my weight my entire life. Pretty much in college, you know, things really started to get out of control. I was like over 300 pounds, 330 pounds at one point in college. And I just wasn't happy with myself. I had tried everything you could imagine. You know, you remember the South Beach diet where you had like no carbs for 2 weeks and then you reintroduced carbs. I was tired all the time. I was going to sleep like at 7 o'clock every day because I was like, I just don't have energy. I tried personal trainers. I tried going to expensive, fancy gyms where I would spend like hours because I would get on the elliptical like a hamster for like an hour, then go swimming. And it just became like a whole day event that I had no social life because I was really trying to manage my weight. And I had success with it. I had short-term success with it, and I had lost a lot of weight. But what would happen was, because it wasn't a lifestyle, and I joke about this because, you know, once you're out of college, you really don't see your college friends very often, maybe like a couple of times a year. So every time I would see my friends, I was either like slimmer Pablo or bigger Pablo. Like they just didn't know who they were getting at that point. And, you know, social media wasn't that huge. I wasn't really big on social media before I became a coach. So like they really weren't keeping up with me. And I was just this yo-yo dieter. Like I would gain all the weight back, then do something extreme to lose it. And it just, I needed to get off of this weight loss roller coaster. I hadn't found something that I could stick with. So I met my wife, then girlfriend, and we dated for a couple of years. We eventually decided, I guess I proposed to her, and then I guess we both decided we were going to get married, or she decided to say yes. And so we moved back home with our families. We were living in North Jersey. She was getting her graduate degree. I was working in New York. I'm a TV producer. As a TV producer. I'm a TV producer right now, currently as well. And so we decided she moved back in with her sister to South Jersey. I moved back in with my mom in Central Jersey, just so we could save money for the wedding, right? We wanted to pay for this wedding without any debt. So we were like, let's buckle down. Let's, you know, not live on our own anymore. And so, you know, people want to look good for their wedding, right? It's not just the women. The guys want to look good for their wedding too. And so we were like, all right, what are we going to do to look good for this wedding? And my wife, you know, saw an infomercial for Insanity. So we both kind of were dealing with our budgets together and really hunkering down on, you know, what we were going to allow ourselves to spend. And she was just like, well, it's only $120 for the workout program. And I was like, whoa, we are not paying $120 for a workout program. You are out of your mind, you know? And of course she could order it at beachbody.com or call the infomercial number. So she did her little investigative work, and she was like, I found it on eBay for $80 and we could get it from China for $80. I was like, bootleg for $80? $80 will do it. Thank you for finding a deal. So we bought the bootleg Insanity, right? So now she's probably an hour away from me. So it's not like we can do Insanity every day together. So I was back home with my mom, and my mom had ordered hip hop abs from the infomercial. So I was dealing with hip hop abs. So I was like, all right, I got to do this program. So simultaneously, my wife, Amanda, started Insanity. I was doing hip hop abs for my mom. It was very uncomfortable because I was like, this is not my kind of workout program, but I was like, Mom, just focus on the TV. Don't look behind you. You know, we're going to work through this. We'll lose this weight. My wife, on the other hand, did 2 weeks of Insanity, and she stopped because at one point in her workout, her sneaker flew off, and she was like, all right, this is way too intense. I'm not doing this anymore. So Insanity got shelved. She decided to join a gym or something and lose weight. Meanwhile, my mom and I had lost about 30 pounds in doing hip hop abs in the course of like 4 months. We just kept with it. And so we had good success, and we got married, and I felt like I looked pretty good. I was about 250 pounds. And for me, that was great. So I was happy with that. So, but of course, then we moved in together, and you're in this whole honeymoon stage. And now we could like make these amazing meals. We were going out to eat constantly. First of all, we got married in Puerto Rico. And then for our honeymoon, we went on a cruise right from Puerto Rico on a 7-day cruise. So you know what goes down on cruises, and it's not, and moderation, if you want moderation, do not go on a cruise, because I was looking out for the midnight chocolate buffet. Like I was all about it. So I had already gotten back into the swing of bad habits, and that carried over like our whole first year of marriage. I was like, party time. Let's eat whatever we want. We're happily married and whatever. So finally in November of 2011, I stepped on the scale one morning and I was 283 pounds. And I was like, okay, now things have gotten out of hand. I'm reaching back up to that 300-pound mark. This is not where I want to be. And we had started talking about possibly starting a family. We were married for about a year at that point, and we weren't thinking at that moment, but we were starting to have those conversations. And I just couldn't imagine having a child and taking care of somebody else if I hadn't gotten a hold of this. I really felt like I had to be able to take care of myself before I could take care of another human being. And so I was like, this is it, no more. I'm doing something today. And I just didn't know what to do. But I had remembered that my wife purchased Insanity. And I was like, where is it? It's collecting dust. Let's go find it. And it's pretty crazy of me to even consider doing that program, because if somebody's, if one of your prospects or clients comes to you and it's like, I'm like almost 300 pounds. What should I start with? Insanity? Does that sound good to you? Yeah. No, it's crazy, right? I would never tell somebody to start with that. It's bananas, literally. So but that's what we had. So I started with it. Of course, that first day I wanted to vomit, thought I was going to pass out. It's a whole drama. I was like on the floor. I couldn't make it to the shower. I was a mess, and I was a mess probably for 2 weeks, but I kept showing up every day. And I was just like, this is it. I have to do this. And through eating well and 3 rounds of Insanity, I had lost 77 pounds, and I'd become a daily Beachbody Challenge winner. And during this process, I connected with a lot of people online through MyFitnessPal. I don't know if you guys have ever used that app, but I was kind of like in a challenge group within this app of other people doing Insanity. And we were like logging our food and all this stuff. And so I was even like working out. We were doing Insanity with somebody in the UK. Like we were on the same day of the same program. We were like checking in daily. So it's like a challenge group before I'd even known what a challenge group was. And so I'd, a coach in there was like, you should totally become a coach. Like you're doing it, you're motivating other people. And I was like, no way. I'm not a salesperson. That's ridiculous. I'm never going to become a coach. That's just not for me, And at that point, it really, I was doing it for my own health and fitness journey. And, my wife and I were making well over 6 figures. We had our dream home. There wasn't really a need for me to become a coach at that moment. I was like, I don't need more on my plate. But I just kept posting, and even people in my family, my friends, I started sharing on Facebook, and people were just like, what the heck are you doing? And I was like, Insanity. And you can get it from China for $80. Let me give you the link. So I'm sending China all the, bootleggers' dream is I'm sending everybody, the business over there. And it wasn't because I just didn't think that anyone would order from me a $120 program, right? This is just crazy. So it wasn't until my sister-in-law said, like, look, you look incredible. What you're doing is amazing. You should become a coach, seriously. And if you become a coach, I'm going to order Turbo Fire from you, like, right now. So I became a coach in January of 2013. And that same day, my sister-in-law ordered Turbo Fire. And I was like, sweet. It's like my first sale on my first day. I made it was a base kit. I made $30. I wasn't even on Shakeology. And so I did nothing with my business for months. I sold people like base kits here and there. I just continued to post about my journey. I felt very weird about talking to anybody about the opportunity. I wasn't a salesperson. I didn't want to be icky. I wasn't drinking the shake. There was no way I was going to buy a $130 bag of powder. Even when my wife approached me, because she saw other like female Beachbody coaches on Instagram, and she was like, these people are getting great results. Like my wife has a few autoimmune diseases and things going on in her body. And she's like, I think this is what I need. Like I need this. This is more than just a protein shake. And I was just like, no way. We got this $40 huge thing of protein from Vitamin Shop. Let's stick with that. Because, us husbands, and maybe some of your boyfriends or husbands are the same way. Whenever our wife comes to us with like this big purchase, we're just like, whoa, hold on. What's going on here? We immediately slam on the brakes. But eventually she wore me down, and she was like, let's just try it. Let's just try it. And immediately once we tried it, I fell in love with it. My wife's health has never been better. Like her doctors can't even detect her lupus anymore. She has like her joint pain and all that stuff has been amazing. So we're full believers now in Shakeology. So what I did fail to mention was that I became a coach in January 2013. We found out my wife was pregnant in February of 2013. And now I hadn't done anything with my business. We started drinking Shakeology maybe around July or August of 2013. I went to Rose's Super Saturday in September of 2013. And I was like, all right, I need to do something with this business because my son was going to be born in October of 2013. And you know, kids are game changers. They change everything. My wife was already talking about like, what if I extend my maternity leave for 2 years? What if I just never go back to work? Like we just started thinking about the type of parents that we wanted to be. And both of us come from divorced homes. So we were very intentional, like, how is our life going to change? What are we going to do now? My wife was a high school math teacher and a college adjunct professor at night. I was traveling 2 hours to New York to work in TV production, 2 hours back home. Like, when were we going to see our kid? Never. So immediately I went into protective Papa Bear mode and I was like, all right, whatever this coaching opportunity is, I need the money. Let's work this. And so today my wife has never returned to her job ever since our son was born. She's now a full-time stay-at-home mom and coach. I'm still working as a TV producer. And we have really built our businesses from the ground up. We had no upline support. The coach who signed me on quit. The coach above them wasn't doing anything. The coach above them wasn't doing anything. It was just not an ideal situation, but we wanted it so bad because our why was so strong. And we just could not imagine leaving our son to the care of someone else. We knew that only we could take the best care. And I have such a peace of mind knowing that my son is at home with my wife right now. And every day, that's just irreplaceable. So, you know, guys, connect to that why and just go for it. No matter what's against you, just keep pushing through. And the be here in a year, that phrase is so true. And I tell any coach that I sign up, if you think you're just going to try this for 2 or 3 months and see how it goes, don't bother. You have to be here in a year, because in 2 or 3 months, you're not going to be able to see where this business can take you. You know, be here in 2 years and 3 years and 5 years. And now I'm 36 and my plan is to be completely retired from TV production by the time I'm 40. I know that is totally doable. And so that's just what I'm going for. So it's amazing how, you know, starting with a workout program from China can bring you all the way through to this amazing opportunity. And now I'm talking to you guys on this February evening. So that's a little bit of my story. And you know, when my son was born, like, I held him for the first time. I locked eyes with him and I was the healthiest I had ever been. And that was just such a huge accomplishment for me. And I just remember that moment vividly. I carry that with me. And so that's my fitness wise to continue to be that for my family. And so that's my story. So there's so many parts of our story, and really your most powerful tool as a coach is your story, not like BB Link's app or how to like send people a video or what's the prettiest like app you can use for photos and what's the most clever saying that you can, you know, outthink any other coach out there. That's not your most powerful tool. Your most powerful tool is your story, and knowing my story and who I'm talking to is what has really helped me build a successful brand in this business. And it helps me find my target market. So like, we all have the same product, right? Your 21-day fix is just like my 21-day fix. Your all access is getting people the same access that my customers are getting. But when people buy from you, they're not buying the product. They're buying you. They're buying why you do it. And you've probably heard that before. But they can buy the product anywhere. I bought mine from China. But what is going to separate you from the 500,000 other Team Beachbody coaches in this business? Like, we are unique, and we have to be able to communicate that uniqueness through our story. And let alone, you know, there's people wrapping themselves in plastic and drinking 20 teas a day. So there's plenty of people who are over or saturating this market. And we really have to stand out. And we really want to be able to connect to people who are like us. So we have to share who we are, right? So I'll share a little bit more of my story and something that I share through my posts. My parents divorced when I was 7. My home was filled with domestic violence and drug abuse. It was really, really painful childhood growing up. And I yearned for the love of my dad. And to this day, I still don't feel like really that connection with him. And a lot of my issues I found out from with food stemmed from trying to fill that void that I knew that only he could fill. My mom was a single mom. She was amazing. And and she just did the best she could with my sister and I. I was an honors student. I got all kinds of accolades and awards, but I just always felt like I wasn't good enough and that there was something wrong with me. And no one knew this because my mom always told us, you know, you're fine, go to school. And bottling that up for years and years, I think really attributed to the decline of my health. And I became an extremist. I would just overeat or I wouldn't eat. I eliminated all carbs. I tried the diet pills, you name it. Like I said before, I've tried it. And I even wanted weight loss surgery. So I dreamed of just like going to the hospital and then like just getting this procedure done. In a couple months, I'd be fixed. And I was so desperate for that fix that I became that yo-yo dieter that I talked about. So there's a lot of emotional issues that stem from my issues with food, my health and fitness journey. And so I still battle with emotional eating and binge eating. I don't hide it. As a matter of fact, I did a Transformation Tuesday post today where I talk about it. It is what it is. And all I can do is try to manage it the best I can with our eating plan, Shakeology, and my workouts. And it's been the only thing that's been able to help me battle those things. But guys, you have to be open and vulnerable about those struggles. It makes you human and so much more relatable to others. So that's what we want to be, is relatable to others. When I first started this health and fitness journey, I would look on social media and everyone looked so perfect. Everyone. I was following like men's physique competitors. I had no, and I still have no desire to ever compete in a men's physique competition. But I followed those people because that's all I would see. I didn't see a 300-pound man or someone who was 300 pounds who was sharing his story, who I could relate to, who just wanted to be a healthy dad. I didn't see that. So I want you guys to approach your story in these ways. The first thing is you want to talk about your trial-filled history. You have to be brave. The messier your story, the better. There's a message that has come from that mess, so it's up to you to share it. The more vulnerable you can be, the more powerful your story or your post is going to be. It's scary, but it's true. It's oftentimes those posts that you're like sweating and your heart is beating really fast. Those are the ones that are really good. Those are the ones that you're like, wow, I'm about to do something amazing and really be able to connect with people in a way that I've never shared before. And that's going to make me unique. It's going to, my story is going to be completely different from anyone else's. Or maybe you share a similar struggle as someone else, but maybe this is something that people don't know about you. You always want to talk about how Beachbody changed your life. How did you transition from the old you to the new you? So paint the picture. The Pablo from, before I started in November 2011 was discouraged, was tired, was sick and tired, did not have energy, needed to do something about it, did not feel good about himself, very self-conscious. And then talk about yourself today. Have the confidence to speak on a team call in front of all these amazing people. I probably wouldn't have done that before. I would have had so much social anxiety about this call. And now I don't have that. I have more confidence. I feel more attractive to my spouse. These are things that I talk about because these are things that people relate to. People do not relate to like, I killed my workout. I eat celery all day and I love kale. Nobody relates to that, okay? So don't try to be perfect. And when I first became a coach, that's all I would post about. Workout was easy. Look at my sweaty selfie. Now I'm gonna have my shake. It's amazing. Like, no, people don't wanna follow that. So make sure you talk about the old you and the new you. Talk about all the struggles in between and leave nothing out. And there are three days of the week that I definitely share part of my story. And that's Transformation Tuesday, that's Throwback Thursday, and I do a coach opportunity call post on Sunday. And we all know Sundays are the best days because maybe some of us still deal with it, but everyone's dreading getting ready to work, to go to work on Monday. They're packing their lunches. They're like getting all this stuff ready, and they really don't want to go to this dead-end job. So if you can talk about the coaching opportunity on that day, and how you feel so fulfilled and how you love this environment. You love your coworkers. Your team is amazing. You actually you pick this team that you're a part of. You don't get to pick your coworkers, right? So if you can just share what coaching has done for you, that's amazing. I think you should be doing that at least once a week and sharing it in very different ways. If your story does not involve financial freedom right now, or maybe you're only making $50, $100, $200, and that's great because that's paying for something. So you can share what this income is doing for you, but more talk about your emotional transformation through coaching. Talk about how it's kept you accountable to your physical goals. I know that my fitness is my business, so I got to get up and push play. And that's one of the big perks about being a coach, is that I probably would have given up by now, because there are some days when I look at that workout calendar, I'm like, I hate chisel balance, but I got to do it. So you guys know those, what are they? Those pivot? No, those, I don't know. Those, whatever we're doing for the last 10 minutes of that one, it's pure hell. But I do it because I'm a coach. So if you guys haven't done that program, or you have, you know what I'm talking about. So Transformation Tuesday, pistol squats, that's what it is. Transformation Tuesday. I always share my transformation. Use one of your before pictures, use your a current picture, and share a story with it. Don't just say like, I lost 50 pounds. I feel amazing. Like I said, you want to talk about the old you, the new you, how you feel mentally right now. Is it more than just the physical transformation? Share that. You want to also do the same on Throwback Thursday. I use Throwback Thursday as a transformation post, and I share pictures. Maybe you only have I probably have a set of 6 before and afters. Sometimes I interchange the before and after so they look a little bit different. But don't worry about redundancy. Do it consistently. Redundancy is a good thing. And you want to post them at different times of the day, so that maybe your different audiences, people who are logging in at different times of the day. You have those people who look at their Facebook first thing before they even get out of bed and brush their teeth. You have the people who get to Facebook at night. You have people who check Facebook during their lunch hour. So make sure you scatter those transformation posts throughout the day so people can see them. And don't worry about over posting or people getting tired of your story. You can post them, like I said, all different times of the day. Plus, only about 15% of your friends are seeing your posts. That's just the way Facebook works. So redundancy is a good thing. And I find that no one gets tired of a good story, a good transformation story. And maybe you have like a grab bag of 5 different stories that you share. Continue to post it, because as you're adding people to your network, you want them to see your transformation post. Yeah, you post one last month, but you probably got 20 more friends this week. You got to post another one this week. So make sure you don't feel weird about posting your transformation. Post it, whether you get 1 like or 100 likes or whatever, post it. People are really encouraged by it, and just know that you're inspiring someone, whether they like your post or not. And when you have that conversation with them, they're going to reference that picture and that story. Here's a pro tip that I use is, those, the On This Day app on Facebook. When people started using it, I'm like, why are you guys sharing memories? That's so corny. Like, who cares? Why are you living in the past? I don't care what you did 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. But I started looking at my On This Day, and I'm like, I got some content that I used last year. I found a recipe. I found a before and after picture that I used last year that I can use again. Oh, what a great story I told last year. I forgot about that one. Let me use that. A coaching post that I used before. So make sure you guys look at your On This Day, especially you guys who've been coaches for more than 1 year. It could backfire a little bit, because I see what I've posted like 3 years ago, and it was like a picture of Sean T and me being like, join my Insanity Challenge group. We're going to rock this. It said nothing. It was terrible. But it's good to do a self-check and see how much you've grown as a coach as well. But there's probably a lot of good content there that you've shared. I found a picture of me holding my son for the first time in my On This Day yesterday. And I was like, perfect, I'm using that. So I got to use that for a coaching opportunity post, because it was because of him that I decided to really go all in with this business, so I could share that story. Another thing, and don't tell anybody, is that I work out every single day, unless I'm like sick, but every day I have to work out. It's for my own mental sanity, for my wife's mental sanity, for everyone around me, mental sanity. I have to work out. It's just what I just have to do. I just have to start my day with that. So I have tons of workout posts. So I look back on this day before I work out, and I'm like, sweet, I'm going to say the same thing today. And my workout posts are done. So you can save yourself a lot of time by doing that. But on these posts, you should have a call to action. You don't just want to say, look at me, look how far I've come. Aren't I amazing? You don't want to say like, I'm so lucky I'm a coach. Like, this is awesome. Don't just brag about what you have. You need to invite them. So these posts should have a call to action. You should be like, look, my team is hosting a coaching happy hour sneak peek this Thursday. I'd love for you to learn more. Message me. Or my challenge group is filling up. I actually start, our challenge group starts February, 21st. I'm looking for 5 busy moms who would love to join me. So you have to invite them to your opportunity. You can't just say, look at me. So you want to make sure that all these posts, your Transformation Tuesday, your Throwback Thursday, your coaching opportunity, have a call to action. Because we want to make sure that we're inviting. That's not our only source of invitation, but it's a good way to weave in an invitation after you've invited them into your life and you're sharing this part of your story, right? Because they're hooked once they're like, ooh, what's Rose talking about today? Wow, that looks like a long post. Look how far she's come. My wife told me this because she also does a lot of research, but she said the Facebook algorithm does not like the words comment or like on posts, that they rather have you use the phrase message me. So I always use message me. I don't say like comment with your favorite emoji if you want in. I don't do any of that, or like, tag somebody below. I usually just say message me. It gives them a direct call to action, like you have to reach out to me. And as a good husband, I do whatever she says. So if she says do it, I'm doing it. And you want to breadcrumb your story. So what does breadcrumbing mean? Like, don't give them the whole shebang all in once. I could go on a rant on Facebook right now and talk about how my dad left and like I was 7 years old and all this turmoil, and then like I ate so much food and blah, 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 all this. I could go on forever about how my wife's sneaker flew off and then we gave up and then we got back in and blah, blah, blah. There's so many other stories that I can share, but I need to just pick one story. So I'm just going to breadcrumb a little bit of what's going on, not the whole thing. You want to give people bite-sized pieces of who you are. It keeps people coming back for more, and they're going to be like, all right, what else am I going to find out about Mallory today or Diana today? Like, what are they going to share with me? And I guess that might be the TV producer in me, because my wife gets mad when the reality TV shows like cut to commercial. She's like, oh, you left me hanging. You TV producers are the worst. Now I have to tune in to see what's coming next. So it's kind of like that. You want to have them tune in to what's coming next. Hold on one second. My son just made his way over here. Hi. He should be sleeping. So I'm texting my wife. Oh, she knows. So, toddler issues here. So maybe today's post is how I'm battling with emotional eating issues. Another post could be how I'm a child of divorce and how I'm so intentional about my parenting and how committed I am to my marriage. But maybe like today's post, I had a post about how I love tacos. It's Taco Tuesday. So I'm just sharing who I am, this full picture of who I am, and it's not all health and fitness. Make a list of who you are and who you want to connect with. So for me, my list is I'm a father, I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, I love tacos, I'm a runner, I like really bad puns and like dad jokes, so I'll share those. So people are like looking forward to like, what bad joke am I gonna share? Or what taco joke or taco meme can I share? And that's just who I am. Like that's just what I'm passionate about. So I share that. So you guys should not be ashamed of like, you're so much more than a health and fitness coach. You are, there's so many things that make up who you are. So we have to be sharing those things through your posts. So make that list, and that's going to help you devise your content to let people into your life. It's your reality show. What not to post is stock photos. You probably heard that before. Photos of products or Shakeology. I hardly ever say the word Shakeology in my post. I never show a bag of Shakeology. And I actually love when the Shakeology rubs off on my shaker cups in the dishwasher, because I never want to show the word Shakeology, because what are we going to do? People are just going to Google and be like, whoa, not drinking that. They must be made of money. So you don't get the opportunity to talk to people if you tell them everything that you're offering. I hardly ever say Core de Force, which is the program that I'm doing right now. I just say like MMA style workout, or like I'm actually doing the hybrid. So today was Insanity Asylum Strength. So I just talk about like a sport agility strength workout that I did today. And people will ask, what are you doing? What are you drinking? I'm so glad you asked. Now I can have that conversation. You want to have, don't share photos with no value or content. What can I teach? What can I preach? Or what can I work on? Those are 3 things you should be asking yourself when you're posting content. What can I teach? What can I preach? Or what am I working on? Or can I work on? So that's how you're going to gauge your post. And you should do like a quick check of your own social media posts. And if it's just you like hanging out, you know, just smiling because you got a new lipstick, you're like, should be asking yourself, so what? You know, exactly. No duck face, no kissy face, all those things. And if you're going to share your lipstick and make a kissy face, then at least tell somebody where they can buy the lipstick. You know, give them some content or say like, hey, I got this lipstick at $1.99 for $1.99 at CVS. You know, you should go get some, or how much you love the product or whatever. Like add some value to that post. Like I said, you want to be relatable and not picture perfect. You want to post with clarity and purpose. What do you want your audience to know about you today? You should ask yourself always, so what? If like you read your post, would you say like, so what? What was the purpose of that? Was that just a waste of space? Think about who you were when you started. Who were you looking for? You know, maybe you were looking for someone like Rose. Maybe you were looking for someone like the coach that you sponsored with, or maybe there are other coaches in this company that inspire you. And think about who you were looking for when you started. And what fears did you have? What information or tips were you looking for? You know, we take for granted that we should be drinking water. Most people don't know that they should be drinking at least half of their body ounces in water. You know, we as coaches know a lot of information, and we should be sharing those tips and offering value to people through our content. That, So have your posts evoke emotion, right? This is going to come from the stories you share. They should be, especially those transformation posts, don't make them superficial, especially that coaching post. There's emotion. Emotion has you guys here on a call at 9-10 p.m. on Tuesday night. Like there's something connecting you to these products. There's something connecting you to the opportunity. So share that emotion. So I'll share a quick example of a post, a story that I shared and what happened after I shared it. So I've never shared this story until maybe about 6 months ago. So I'm a child of divorce, and during my like middle school, high school years, I would see my dad once in a while, but he would come around sometimes, and he would, you know, knock on my mom's door, ring the doorbell, and my sister and I would come running out. We were just so happy to see him. And a lot of times he would ask us like, did you guys eat dinner? And we would say no, even though we already had eaten dinner, because we knew if we said no, he would take us to dinner. And that meant more quality time with him. So, of course, now I'm eating 2 dinners every time he comes around. But I was associating my dad's love and that quality time with food. And so it really became an issue because I was filling that void with food. And that's the way I thought that my dad was showing me love, was by taking me to eat. So I shared this post, and honestly, like I had tears streaming down my face as I was typing it. And I even said that in the post because it's something that I had never shared. And it was like this aha moment, like, wow, this is probably a big part of where my eating issues come from. And so I shared that story. And like 10 minutes after I'd posted, I received a message from this woman who said, oh my gosh, that is my story. That is my story. And I've never shared this with someone, but I'm adopted. And the way that I've been able, when I was adopted as a kid, I never felt part of the family that adopted me. They just never made me feel a part of it. And it wasn't until I was 12, this is her sharing her story, that she connected with her biological grandmother. And when she would spend time with her grandmother, they would cook. And they would cook cultural foods, and they would eat. And the more they would cook and spend time together, and they would eat. And so she equated this sense of family with love, with food, and love with food. So that became her issue. That same day, she purchased her 21-day fixed challenge pack, and she signed up as a coach. And just because I shared that story, just because I was bold enough to share that story that I was so scared of sharing, but I did. And it's not going to pay off for you like that all the time, but it was pretty cool how it did, and how I was able to connect to someone in a way that I never thought I could connect with. So you're going to get better with emotion over time. It definitely takes practice. Another example is when you look at on this day, you're going to find some posts that you're like, oh, I wish I had another chance. I could have nailed that post. So I decided to do it again. Post the exact same thing, but share the post with more emotion. So this November, I think in 2014, November of 2014, I'd gotten in a really bad car accident. And I posted a picture of my car was completely totaled. And I posted a picture of it, and this was the caption. Goodbye, my Honda Civic. This is the first car I ever bought 10 years ago. Lord, thank you again for your protection today. My wife and I would like to thank everyone for your prayers and thoughtful messages. Time for some family time, our nightly prayers and meds. Good night. When I read that, I was like, oh man, I wasted an opportunity to share so much of the story of what happened that day. And so I decided that on this day, I posted the picture of my totaled car, but I decided to give the full story. So this is the full story. I remember this day 2 years ago vividly. It was a rainy day and I had left work early. I called my wife as I left work, using earbuds, hands-free of course, to let her know that my mom was in the ER after a bad car accident, and I was on my way to the hospital to be with her. As I pulled onto the Schuylkill Expressway, I was rear-ended by a pickup truck at a high speed on the entrance ramp and pushed into oncoming traffic on the busy highway. I had no idea what had happened. I knew for sure that I was as good as dead, just bracing myself to be hit a few more times by oncoming cars. My wife, Amanda, heard the entire thing on the phone with me. I was certain she was going to hear me die that day. Thank God for protecting me. I remember reuniting with my wife and my 1-year-old son at the time and just bawling. It's memories like these that make me super thankful for every second of my days. So the first post really had no emotion. I was like saying goodbye to my car. The second post took people through the story. Like I gave them examples, like maybe you guys are from this area, or maybe you're not, and you have no idea what the Schuylkill Expressway is, but you were on the road with me. Like you were like, oh my gosh, I'm in the car with him, and then he got hit, and then he went to oncoming traffic. I gave you so much detail that you felt like you were in it. So when you write your transformation post, you have to give that detail, because people are like, oh my God, Rose understands me. She feels the same way. So if you can post with those details, you can connect with people so much more. You want to really paint the story in a way that's going to make it compelling. Your social media is your reality show. So if you guys have ever wanted your own reality show, you got it. Your Facebook is it. Take people on the journey with you. Pretty much people know most of what's going on in my life and are tuned into my family. So for example, you'll get to the point where you will start to have conversations with people, and they don't even have to ask you how you're doing, because they know. They start with, oh, how's your son? I hear he's potty training. Like, how's the potty training going? You're like, yes, they know. They're watching. And so I can make the conversation more about them. I can say, oh, he's doing great. Like, pooped on himself yesterday, whatever, but today is a new day. And then I can go into talking about them. I want to put the focus back on them, but I'm setting the stage for them to know what's going on with me. So when they ask me something that like I never talked to them about, it's a score. So here's an example of how you know you're doing it right. If you're sharing your story and being open about, and your social media is a reality show, here's an example of how I knew that I was doing it effectively. My son, and those of you who have toddlers know, and those of you who are having kids or thinking about starting a family, it's going to get really interesting. My son swallowed a magnet in October 13th, 2 days before his birthday, his third birthday. And so I'm driving to work in Philadelphia. My wife calls me and I see, on my Bluetooth, and I'm like, why is she calling me? This can't be good. So she calls me. She's like, he swallowed a magnet. Like, he says his belly hurts. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, can he just like swallow it, drink some water? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm in traffic. I can't really turn around. Can you Google it? So she gets off the phone. She Googles it. That's the most terrible thing you could do when something's wrong with you, right? Because immediately you're like, you're going to die. You have cancer. You're going to, start writing your will. Like, they give you worst case scenario. So you guys know how it is. If you have a pain in your knee, you probably have knee cancer. It's terrible to ever look up anything online. So my wife calls me back even more frantic. So now she's like, oh my gosh, like this could like do some serious damage. I have to go take him to the ER. So I go to work. She's updating me in the ER. He gets x-rays. Thankfully, like it's traveled down to the like lower intestine, and they send them home. And basically we just have to wait for it to pass. So we have to look out for it for the next 3 days. If it doesn't come out in the next 3 days, we have to return to the ER. This was a Thursday. So we decided on Sunday after church, if we did not see a magnet, we're going back to the ER. So Sunday, church, no magnet. And I'm walking into church with my son, and a woman who I'm friends with, who I haven't really connected with, but I friended a few people from my church. She looks at me and she goes, "Is it out yet?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like, I had never talked to her in my life. And she looked at my son, and I realized, "Oh, you mean the magnet?" So I had no idea. She didn't like the post. She never comments on anything, but she was on magnet watch. So that's how you know you are doing it right. When people are tuned into your life and they are genuinely like tuned in. So that was a pretty cool example of how when you're sharing, like, people are watching, whether they like, they comment or not, people are tuned in. So make sure you're giving them a story to tune into. And, you know, I always thought like my life was boring, but there's so much stuff to talk about, honestly, in your day. And it's what's going to help you connect to those people. So do a self-check. Look at your timeline every now and then to really examine what people are learning about you. Go through your timeline a couple times a week and hide or delete any posts that people have tagged you in. Sometimes it can get really messy because they're like, "Pablo, I thought you would like this recipe. Look at this funny taco meme. This dad joke is really terrible." And like, you look at your Facebook page and it's just flooded with people tagging you and stuff and events and all this stuff. I just go through it and hide it, because if I'm friending people and they're basing what my timeline looks like to like accept me, I don't want all this junk. I want them to see some like quality posts and what I'm about. So I do this a couple times a week and just hide stuff from my timeline that people maybe have tagged me in that are just kind of junking up what my Facebook page looks like. It's your storefront, right? So I used to work at the Gap, and we used to have to like vacuum and fold the clothes. That's exactly what you want to do. Like, we don't have a brick and mortar store. Our social media is our storefront. So we want to keep it clean. So how do you attract your tribe? Who is your avatar? We hear that all the time. Post things that they would be interested in, you know, like my wife posts about sometimes like her dry shampoo. Which one is the best one? She's trying different ones. I'm not going to post about dry shampoo. I have no need for dry shampoo. So I'm not going to offer women like my take on dry shampoo. She likes to save money on healthy foods using the Target Cartwheel app. Everybody loves Target, you know? So what can I share with people? So think about like, what information are you looking for, or what are some tips or like things that you can share with people that you do on a daily basis? And use hashtags on Instagram that they would be looking for. And you're allowed to use 30 hashtags on Instagram. For those of you who are building your business on Instagram and Facebook, which are the two platforms that I use. So use all 30 hashtags. Do not just use 3. Do not just use like 10. I use 30. So I have all my coaches come up with 30 hashtags that describe who they are. I have a coach who just signed up. He's big on the New York Mets. So I have him post New York Mets. His post has nothing to do with the New York Mets, but somebody's going to be looking for the New York Mets stuff on Instagram, and are going to find his sweaty selfie and be like, "What is this weirdo doing here?" They're going to click on him, right? So on my workout post, I post like a few like fit dad or like husband or boy dad or toddler dad, because those things kind of describe me and I want to connect to parents. But I also use like Paw Patrol, which is his favorite cartoon. Target, my wife will use Target Mom. I use stuff that's currently going on, like Super Bowl or Lady Gaga. I have no interest in Lady Gaga per se, but like if somebody wants to see like some funny memes about Lady Gaga, it's going to be me, Pablo sweaty selfie. That's weird. Let me click on that. So I want to stand out. I don't just want to be like on the Fit Dad page. Look at all these Fit Dad. I want to be like Taco Tuesday. Bam. That's a hashtag I use on Tuesdays. So don't just use the ones that everybody uses. And you certainly don't want to use like Focus T25 or Shakeology, because you know who's going to follow you, which are other coaches who are already on their journey or working their business, and who got time for that. You know, we're looking for new people. So use some really weird and interesting hashtags. You'd be surprised. And if you've gone through depression, use depression. Use overeating, use binge eating. I'm not going to give you all my secret hashtags, but you guys just think about like those 30 things that make up who you are. Maybe you're a crafty mom, whatever. You know, it doesn't even have to match your post. but you want to find people who would be looking for that Instagram hashtag. And one thing to do is like look up the hashtag before you put it on your list. So find out like what the hashtag looks like. Because if it's so specific, like I love to eat tacos on Tuesday, it's probably have like 5 posts there. So you really don't want to do that. But if you can make it a little bit more general, like I love Chipotle or Taco Tuesday, then you probably have a bigger audience. And just be careful, like check those hashtags. Because I posted this funny meme, this dad joke meme that had to do like, what is a cloud's favorite shorts to wear? And it was like thunder pants. So I was going to use like, because my son is potty training, so I wanted to do something like with underwear and potty training. So I didn't use the hashtag underwear because I really don't want like people in their underwear like finding me or thinking that I'm going to be posting in my underwear. So just be careful of those things that you post, you know? Yeah, so hashtags. So I'm just going to wrap up now. I know I've been talking for a while and I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions or anything like that. But one personal development book that I recommend to help you get better at social media is Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook, How to Tell Your Story in a Noisy Social World. I learned so much from that book, and he goes through like every platform, like platforms I hadn't even heard of. But there are so many principles in all the social media platforms that I can use for Facebook and Instagram to tell good stories, to tease people, to breadcrumb my story, to have like a more interesting photo, something that's not too busy. I find that a lot of times my coaches even are like posting 17 pictures in one like square. And I'm like, what are you doing? Where are my eyes going? Like, what is this? Why do you have like a whole paragraph worth of words over your face? Like he just helps break it down to just have a nice, clean photo, a clear, concise message. And it was just a great book. So I'll end with a little inspiration. And there's this great quote that I found that I tried to live by. The moment you begin sharing your truth, those who need your story begin to look for you. And like I said, when I first started my health and fitness journey, I didn't see anyone like me. I didn't see anyone sharing the story that I wanted to connect with. I didn't see someone who wanted to be a healthy dad or someone who struggled with emotional eating. I didn't see many people who were brave enough to share this story. Everyone looked perfect. It was hard to follow those people because I didn't think I could live up to that. And I soon realized that everyone's social media was their highlight reel. And that was just so boring to me. It was so fake. Even I still see a lot of coaches, not a lot of guys, but a lot of girls who are like, and I'm like, what is that? Like, what are you holding? What are you sharing? What's happening there? And it's so bad, but I just laugh because I'm like, oh, I just want to help them, but I have no time because I have to help my team. I got to help myself. I want to help everybody just be better at their social media. But you should be sharing your setbacks and obstacles. Remember, we talked about that trial-filled history, that messiness that happened before Beachbody, where your life was, where you're going, where you've come from. Share those things that you're currently facing or have faced and how you've overcome them, and share that success story. It's okay to share the success, but never omit the struggle. I don't want you to say like, here I am today, amazing. I want to know, tell me when you were like not amazing, because that's how I feel. I don't feel amazing right now. I need to connect with the not amazing. You want to be real. You want to be human. You want to be authentically you. Be weird. People love weird. It's amazing that when I share like that my son is into fart noises, and sometimes we make them with our mouths. Like how many people are like, oh my gosh, my husband and my son, like they love farts. Like I'm like, great. I have a whole fart community here. Like we can fart and make fart noises together. That's who I am as a boy dad. You know, those of you who have boys know that's what pretty much goes on. If you say pee pee and poop, it's like it's just amazing. So make sure you share all that stuff. You should be giving people a backstage pass to your life. They want to hear what you've overcome and where you are now. And they want that story to inspire them to change. Those are the people that will follow you and that will become your lifers. And once they can relate to you and feel like they know you without even ever having spoken to you or met you in person, that's where you want to be, where people feel like they know you without even you sending that first message. So be brave, share what makes you you. And I believe Kim Lima shared this at a Super Saturday. The worst story you ever told is the story you never told. So just keep sharing, guys. So that's what I have tonight. If you guys have any questions or anything for me or want to talk about anything that I've talked about, feel free.
That was so awesome, Pablo. Like you beyond just sharing your story, you really gave us such good content that we can put into action. And then that's what I really love about team calls is like, yeah, sometimes we get great information, but unless we can make it something actionable that we can, implement into our business tonight or tomorrow, then, I think we definitely got a lot of good nuggets from this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Who has comments, questions? Let's open it up.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you write your post ahead of time? Is this something that you are scheduling out, or it just kind of comes to you, or what kind of organization do you have?
That is a little point of contention in our home because I'm more sporadic and spontaneous. My wife is like, we need to plan our social media for the week on Sundays. And I just like to kind of go from the hip a little bit. So there is a little pre-planning involved, but I do like the spontaneity of like my post. But you should at least know, like Mondays, I usually post like a motivational quote or something from personal development that I love. Transformation Tuesday, I know 2 posts on my Tuesday are a Taco Tuesday meme. People love that. And my Transformation Tuesday story. So I just have to get my pictures together. And those are usually the hardest ones because you want to make those really good because they're going to have a call to action and get your pictures together for that. Wednesdays are kind of like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't really have a plan, but I do pre-plan those most important ones. Like, I know that, like I said, those Monday ones, the Transformation Tuesday and the Taco Tuesday, the Throwback Thursday is definitely going to be one. My coaching opportunity post, I want to share that. But once you have your list of like the things that you want to share, things start coming to you. Like, yeah, I need to share that. Like if I want to talk about how being a boy mom is, then, let me share this story about what my kid did today. And So yes, there's a little bit of pre-planning. I'm not as planned as I guess I should be because, even to this day, some days I'm like, I only had 2 posts. What am I going to talk about today? But my workout posts are one every day. So that's one that's in the bag. The workout post, the first thing every morning by 7:30 a.m., my workout post is up. So people have come to expect this consistency from me. And that's what you want. Although I'm not perfectly pre-planned, if people don't see my workout post by 8 a.m., they think I'm like dead in a ditch because they're like, where is he? And that's the kind of captive audience you want. People are sending me taco memes and they're like, you should post this tomorrow. This is hilarious, So people should expect some kind of predictability with what you're going to post, what information you have. Sundays are usually meal prep days for me. So you can expect me to either go live in the kitchen because I swear I have my own cooking show. I want to have my own cooking show. So I just go live and just goof around, but people are getting some kind of meal prep information. So just kind of work on a plan for yourself. So yeah, half planned, half spontaneous is what I do. It works for me.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else with questions or comments for Pablo?
I have a question.
Sure.
All right. I'm sorry. I've been scrolling through my phone the whole time you've been talking, trying to find great pictures for Transformation Tuesday. So my question is, when you do your Transformation Tuesday, your Throwback Thursday, are they always a physical transformation? Or because I don't really take a lot of selfies, where you can see a big transformation. I'll just take, in my workout clothes. So what do you normally share with those?
That's a good question because I have coaches or people who want to be coaches on my team and come to me and they're like, dude, you lost 100 pounds. That's just not my story. How can I have success in this business? And I'm like, you can have success because you have your own transformation story, whether you lost 5 pounds or 20 pounds, whether it's hard to see the weight, whether you've always had kind of abs and now you have popping abs. And I do share mostly what people see as the physical because there's a huge physical difference in what I look like a few years ago to today. But I don't solely focus on that. I take the time to say that Pablo felt self-conscious. I share stories about how my wife couldn't wrap her arms around me when we hugged. And so now when we hug and her hands can touch around my back, that's huge for me. I talk about how, as embarrassing as it was, I was terrified of not fitting on a roller coaster. My mattress had a dent in it. Like, my wife is smaller and petite, and she would like roll towards me, and not because she wanted to cuddle, because she had no choice. Like, we had to rotate my mattress. So as funny as that is, I've had people relate and be like, dude, like, that's my story. Like, that's my shame and my embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not always physical. You can share that emotional transformation of where you are. That I have a coach who has dealt with a lot of have dealt with a lot of depression, and she even shared a story of how, like, every morning she would pass this tree on her way to work and wanted to drive into it, and now she doesn't feel that way because she works out in the morning. She's plugged into our challenge group. People are loving on her, and she feels amazing. And she doesn't have a huge transformation story. But when I tell that story, like, my hair on my arms stand up, because I'm like, whoa, that is a transformation. That is a psychological, complete mental shift that came in a box of Shakeology and a workout program. And she just started like, so yes, it can go so much deeper. Usually I try to make my throwback post not so much a physical transformation. Maybe you can make your Transformation Tuesday more about the physical and how you feel, how you look. And maybe you can do your Throwback Thursday more about, like, this is how I used to think of myself. This is how I think of myself today.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you ever share anybody else's transformations, or is it always yours?
I do share other people's transformations, my coaches and my challengers. Yeah, I do use that as an opportunity to recognize them, because I don't just want to be like, hey, I'm doing this for me, but I haven't helped anybody else. So yes, use it as an opportunity to share your coaches and challengers transformations as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm looking in the chat in case I'm missing any questions.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much this was really, really awesome. And it hit home a lot for me, because just recently I started to really kind of dive into the content of my posting and all that and what I was delivering. And I started coaching last March, and I have like we all have our stories, and mine is, I'm a recovering drug addict, and I kept that like in a box, like, and I really didn't reveal the details of that. And on January 17th, I did a live video on it. It was my clean date of 7 years. And
wow, congratulations.
Thank you. It just went like viral, like, 3,600 views, over 50 shares. And I went to a birthday party last weekend. So like you said, you'll know that if you're sharing. Somebody I didn't know came up to me and said, "You're that girl from Facebook." And I was like, well, which girl? There's like thousands of people. Like, no, that video. And she like knew it. And it was just like, wow. Like, that's what, so it is so much deeper than, the products. And that's like, I do want to ask, how do you, when you're as a leader, like for new coaches, I feel like a lot of people tend to see it like they're trying to they're not be able to like dig into that part, if you know what I'm trying to explain. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it takes some of my coaches sometimes a while to really get to the point where they're comfortable with sharing some of that material, but I just have them breadcrumb it and, get to the point where they can share that, and my weekly one-on-one calls with them, I just try to encourage them. Like, I have a coach on my team who had weight loss surgery, and then he gained all his weight back, and he was very ashamed of that. And I was like, that's nothing to be ashamed of, because it's something very real that happens to a lot of people. And you need to share that story. Like, now since November, we started Quarter Force together. He's lost like 30 pounds. So he's on his way of getting that back. But especially instill that confidence in your coaches that they're not alone, that there's people out there that need to hear that story. And you have a testimony of you sharing your story and the amazing feedback that you got. And just keep it real, because like when I go live, it doesn't get easier for me. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to look like a doofus who's going to get on today. Like, I'm nervous. What are people going to think?
The shaking.
Yeah, absolutely. But those are the good ones. And those are the ones you want to post. When I have that fear, that means that this is something that I need to do to really inspire change within me and change within others. So think of that sensation, that like a little bit of fear, like, all right, that means something amazing is about to happen. I just need to put it out there and go for it, because that's what's really going to separate you from the other coaches, because no one is as brave as you to talk about that drug addiction. There's a lot of coaches who deal with a lot of stuff who just want to be very on the surface and don't want to dig deep. And they're going to have very limited success with this business, because let me tell you, if I was a drug addict or a recovering drug addict, I'd be like, I need what she has. Like, she's got something. I see her post every day and I've never messaged her or talked to her, but yeah, I need to get on board with what she's got going on, because I want to feel like she feels. So props to you. So yeah, it does take time. And even it's still a process with me some days, but now I'm just like bungee jumping with my story. I just throw myself. I'm just like, whatever, let's see what happens with this one today. But props to you for sharing your story. So just continue to just inspire them to share that story and to build their confidence by just reassuring them that people need to hear that story.
Right. Thank you so much. Great call. Thank you for being on tonight.
Sure. And I'll tell you one quick thing about being scared, which ended up really, really awesome. So Rose mentioned that I'm in a size workout. I'm not in the original series. I'm in the size the next level workout with Chili from TLC. It's the bot exclusive. But how that came about was that I had no interest in doing size. Size came out at Summit that year. But I had gotten a lot of my challengers and coaches being like, are we going to do a size challenge group? Are we going to do this? Are you going to buy it? Let's do it. So of course I'm like, all right, business builder, whatever. I can do anything for 30 days. Let's dance. So I purchased size. And then Sean T was running his a share your size competition on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. And so I was like, all right, Sean is my hero. Sean was the number one guy he's my soulmate celebrity trainer. So I was like, all right, all he wanted us to do was post us doing one of the routines. Very out of my comfort zone. My heart was racing. I work out at this fitness center in my apartment complex. So if you see my workout posts, everybody's like, your gym looks amazing. It's not my gym. I just work at this fitness center. Nobody goes there. So I'm always there by myself. So it makes for good pictures. Anyway, so I had practiced the whole routine. I was like, all right, I'm going to push record right now. And as soon as I was about to record, this big buff black dude walks into the gym and he starts running on the treadmill behind me. And in that moment, I had a decision to make. I was very uncomfortable dancing in front of anyone, especially this tough black dude. And then I was going to be like, give me your attention, babe. I was going to go all in. Like, I was ready. And I'd worked so hard on learning the routine. Like, if I didn't do it, then I was going to forget it. So in that split second, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And so I did it. I posted it and I got picked. Like, Sean T picked me. He said, oh my God, this video is amazing, blah, blah, blah. I went to New York. I practiced. He wrote me a note and he was like, you should totally be in one of my size videos. I was like, oh my God, Sean, that'd be amazing. He friended me on Facebook. We were chatting. And then he was like, we're going to do some new workouts, a new series for size. Do you want to be part of it? And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Totally. So I went to New York. I was dancing with Tanya and him, and I met him and Scott. And he pulled me out and he was like, I want you to meet Scott. And I was talking to them and he was like, you know why we picked you, right? And I was like, not my sweet moves. He was like, well, you dance well, but we really couldn't believe that you danced in front of that black dude behind you, And he was like, we couldn't believe that the black dude back there was on the treadmill and you're in front of him dancing like you don't care. And I was like, yes, it paid off. Having no fear and just going for it. It will pay off. So that encourages you in any way to just go for it. You just never know what can come from it. So I'm glad I did it.
I love that story. Oh my gosh. How many times have we all had that second thought of should we do this? Should we not do this? And sometimes it can just lead to the best outcome. So
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I love that. Any last questions before we wrap it up? I don't know if you saw Shannon's comment or question.
Yeah, Shannon, absolutely. Share my transformation post. Find it on my page, share it, enjoy it, use it.
Well, thank you, Pablo. This is absolutely amazing. And I think we're all going to think a little bit more about when we're posting to not make it so superficial. And I even have to sometimes gut check myself and say, hey, could I have made that post a little bit better? Or could I put more feeling into it and more emotion? And I think for me, that's a struggle for me is I'm as much as I post on Facebook, I like to keep emotions to myself. I'm very personal with that stuff. So I know for me, having that emotion come out is what I need to work on. So thanks for sharing all that great information.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great week.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.